Hopefully it won't go live. Hopefully we're not live.
Custom live streaming service.
I think we are live.
Yeah, I think we are. Yeah, there's a big live thing on my screen.
Look at
so
that.
I guess
okay,
we are.
Well, that's how it goes. Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Josh Elledge here. And I've never done a live stream. I've never done a podcast. I've never done a video like this where I've actually been so delighted with a service where I've reached out to them and I've said, hey, I want to talk and I want to share my story with my audience. But that happened. I don't need affiliate money. Like, I'm good. Like, that's not why I'm doing this. I am doing this just simply because I want to share. I've got Laura Sebastian with us right now. Laura.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, you are with WPExpert.com.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to invite someone from my host to be on because WP Expert is more than a host for me. You guys keep me from ulcers, and thank you for that. So it's really,
that's nice. That's nice to hear.
More of a healthcare service for or a wellness service for digital entrepreneurs. If you run anything on a website, and I'll kind of share my story, Laura, if you don't mind, before we start talking about your role in here, because I definitely have some questions for you. So here's what I want to, here's the thesis. Here's kind of like the big overarching thing that I want to talk about first, okay? If you own a website and if you got a developer that you can like track down and hopefully, you can get them to respond to something within an hour or two, it's okay. All right. But what we're going to be talking about is the difference between that and having managed hosting, managed care for your website. So that's what we're going to talk about today, Laura. So the what I wanted to start with, if it was okay, I just want to kind of share a little bit about my background, why I'm super qualified to talk about this. I have been doing internet development since the 90s. I've paid for hosting since the 90s. In the mid to late 90s, I was operating my own website, I was paying a couple $100 a month at the time, and I was running a chat site for the college I was going to. That then led eventually to a number of other websites, and then eventually Savings Angel, my other company, which my hosting bill was north of $800 a month. Just depending on like how much bandwidth and stuff we needed. And so hosting is just always something that if you are a business owner, you have to be very mindful. And by the way, I'm not sure, we'll have to see if we can, I don't know where I can monitor chat and stuff like that. But if you have any questions, I may not see it immediately. But what I will do is I will go through and let's see if I go into, no, I'll have to, I may not see your chat in real time, so forgive me. I had to do this through Zoom. But if you do have any questions, go ahead and comment below and I'll check all the posts and stuff afterwards. Okay. So Laura, in terms of what is the difference, so here's what we've learned, right? Is that in my experience, there is nothing that stresses me out more than a website just going down, because what that means is you're essentially closed for business at that point. It looks bad, but not just your website going down. There are other things that can happen, right? You could have code that all of a sudden, because you updated a plugin on your website, now something's broken and you have maybe a string of code at the top of your website.
Yeah.
I've had that happen before. But the biggest thing, and what led me to connect with WP Expert, and by the way, I'm going to put there in the comment, there should be a code, and I'm going to talk about this. If you go to upmyinfluence.com/hosting, we've got a hookup. And so where you can get your hosting for 50% off for 3 months. And again, I'm not doing it for the affiliate money. I'm doing it because I absolutely love these guys. And these guys really improved my life in a big way. Because another major issue that is affecting your revenue, it's affecting your business, it's affecting the phone calls you get, is your site performance. And if your site is slow, Laura, that's going to be my first question. What are the consequences of having a slow website?
All right. So Google
and by the way, Laura, thank you for joining us. Yes.
Of course. Thanks for having me. Yeah, but anyway, so one of the most important things that we have to look at with site speed is that Google just really stalks all the website, and they rank you, and they don't really tell you why they rank you a certain way, except it's just so obvious that speed is a very big factor for them. So number one, one of the biggest harmful things that it does to your website, it lowers your search engine rankings, right? So consequently, it will decrease your organic traffic, which will lead to of course, the decrease of your revenues, to the decline of your revenues, right? So also another thing with the slow website is the decline in user satisfaction. And one of the traits of a good website is basically to provide a good experience for your customers, right? I mean, you would go to the mall, and if you go to a store with really bad service, you wouldn't want to go back, right? So it's basically the same with a website. And in one survey, it actually says that 80% of online users who experience a slow website will never go back.
Oh, totally.
So that's a huge thing, right? So it makes your company look bad, and nobody really wants to experience it. And, you really need to roll out the campaign to actually get them back on your website. Yeah. So basically, yeah. So, on our end, Google is such a huge factor. And, user experience in general.
Yeah. So they will penalize you.
Yeah, they will.
Underline this. They will penalize you if your website is slow. This is something that I stress about this as well. So I run several different websites. Matter of fact, I'll share a couple of these that I have bookmarked. So I use several of them that I check my website with. First one is tools.pingdom.com.
Yeah.
And that's a tool you can run a speed test on your website. The other one is pagespeedgrader.com. You can run Google's own page speed insights. That's another one. And then finally, there's one more. My favorite, my go-to is GT Metrics.
Yeah.
And all four of those, I especially GT Metrics, because I get automated, like they send me an email and stuff, just based on my grade. And so you have to watch that. So again, hit rewind on this. If you want those, comment below if you're like, whoa, wait, I can't find those. But you should be constantly running tests on your website, because it's not just, Laura, it's not just for how fast does the page display. One thing that they'll check for as well is errors that you have on your website. So if you have security holes, if you have other performance things that you might not visually see, but Google knows, hey, this is suboptimal, you will get penalized for that. And so the only way to know that is to run these scans on your website so that you can see what's going on there, so you don't get that penalization. And also, you also want to make sure, like let's say you're using Chrome, but there might be code that's broken on, the Microsoft browser, whatever that thing is, or Safari or Firefox or whatever it is, right? So it'll help make sure that, or mobile, right? Mobile's a huge one. Matter of fact, the Google one is really good for that, to make sure that you have a very good score on mobile. And
it's a whole different ballgame. Mobile is a whole different ballgame. So actually Google looks at that first. So they've already started ranking websites since 2017. They started ranking websites according to the mobile version of their website. So that's a really huge thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So all this is to say, you got to take this very, very seriously because it's affecting your business. Right.
Mhm.
And so, we just want our users to have a great experience. So all that said, how do we do that? Okay. Well, I think, so you may be hosting with some host, and we were hosting with a private managed hosting, and we were spending $300 a month. And then I actually had somebody approach me. I'm not going to say who it was because they were very nice people, but their hosting sucked. Like, I mean, it was so much stress, and they had actually offered me, I have an audience or whatever, and so they had offered me some free time to try them out. And I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. It was a nightmare. My page speed went to about 16 seconds for Up My Influence for the homepage, and that's just no good. And so and I had brought in developers. I had multiple developers. I had my own in-house developer, and I'm also pretty savvy on this stuff. So we were doing all of the stuff to try to perform, get the website to perform better. Like, why was this so bad? We were doing, I think, maybe like 8-second page speed beforehand. And I'm like, well, that's not real great. Then we went and it like nearly doubled. It doubled the page speed time. That's no good. And so finally, Laura, we had connected, and I'm like, oh, look, I got to do something. And so I reached out to you guys, and I'll tell you what it was that initially appealed to me is that you can go right now to WP Expert, and what you will do is that there, or is it Tech Stack where you fix the issues?
It's WPExpert.com.
Yeah. So if you go to upmyinfluence.com/hosting, one thing that WP Expert will do is just they'll fix your WordPress issues for like $49 per incident. I'm like, take my money, please. So that was a great
Mm-hmm.
first step. They came in, and one thing you guys were able to do, which was great, is that you were able to give me the data that I needed that said, listen, everything is actually not very bad. There's some, tweaks here. We're going to go ahead and fix that, improve the score. I think got it maybe down to 12 seconds, but you're like, honestly, not you, Laura, but you and your team. We identified it was absolutely the host. Absolutely, without question, it was the host issue why my website was loading so slowly. And again, I thought I had a good hosting package, but it was terrible. So long story short, it's too late, is that we got moved over to WP Expert, and my page speed, no joke, went from 16 to then 12 seconds. Then now, pretty consistently, if you go to upmyinfluence.com right now, it's loading generally in under 3 seconds, which that's what you want. And so
Yeah.
I'd love your take on kind of my customer experience, because I know you've had a lot of folks that have come over from, again, maybe they've been paying this, where they pay like $200 a year or something like that. And it's kind of cheap shared hosting. Talk to me about how WP Expert works and like how you guys operate.
All right. So we've encountered a lot of clients saying that they reach out to their developers trying to figure out what's wrong with their websites, whether it's just a WordPress issue or but working with a freelancer, the difficult thing about working with a freelancer is that they focus on one thing. So let's say if you hire a developer to develop your website, in most cases they will just develop your website without really looking at how optimized it is on the first, on your first launch. So what's nice about WP Expert is that when you hop on to our service, you are hiring a team basically. right? So you're hiring a team, and my team is consisted of developers, system administrators, and these are experts in security, optimization, development, and we and WP Expert is under Scalewind, our umbrella company, and we have other companies supporting that, the web development and web design ecosystem, right? So, if you need advice on, optimizing your images or changing your images, we can tap someone for that one. So you're basically hiring a team for a really good price. And as soon as you hop onto our service, we do an audit of your website and see what's really affecting, let's say, your site speed, right? So in your case, Josh, when you first hopped on with on our service, that was the issue. You really wanted to get your website optimized, and along the way, we've had some fixes. And yeah, what's nice about being on a regular package with a company like ours is that I think it wasn't just the only time you optimize your website, Josh, because you
Oh my gosh,
regularly
no.
update your website, right?
Yeah,
So
we had been optimizing, like we were like obsessing on optimization. Like again, the minification. We were image. We used we were using a service that was reducing the the image size.
The image, yes.
Yeah, doing
Compression,
everything that we could.
Yeah.
And look, run the test to my website owning friends right now. Go ahead and run. I shared with you 4 different services that you can use. Run a scan on your website. And if it's taking longer than like 6-7 seconds, there's just way too slow. That's way too slow. You need to address that. And I'm sorry, Laura, but anyway,
it's all right.
It was. I just want to let you know, like my team and I are pretty smart at this, and we think it's the hosting, but sure enough, when we really started drilling down in the numbers, and we really had exhausted everything that we possibly could do, ultimately it came down to, it was the shared host's fault, and and again, through through WP Expert, we were able to now solve that. And man, there's even more like about what makes my life so much better now, which is again, the reason I wanted to invite Laura on here to talk about this, because I've been just so happy in working with you guys. I'm sorry, Laura, continue on. I'm so sorry.
I'm happy that you're happy with your experience.
Well, yes, it's generally what you want in a client experience.
So anyway, so we built our team, with tools to support WordPress. So we extend our own hosting, because we have our own dedicated hosting, and we extend that to our clients. So our clients experience dedicated server experience without having to do the nitty gritty details, like setting up other technical things that if you let's say if you subscribe to a dedicated server. sorry
Bless you.
I have extreme allergies at the moment.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's the worst time to be sick. Anyway, so so we extend our dedicated server. So instead of our clients having to think of security, how to make that dedicated server efficient for them, we do that for them as well. So we audit and we recommend how to make it work best for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all these technical things like CDNs, SSL, security, firewall. There's so many things that go into a website that people think. To be honest, to build a website is so easy. It's so easy to just download WordPress, configure it, and then to just get it online. But what people don't realize is that WordPress security is so limited that you need support third-party applications or tools to actually keep it secure. And when you're growing your business, this is so important because you're handling data. And if you don't secure that data, you damage your clients, your users, right? So it's very critical. And the world, it's so the World Wide Web is so vast, and there are always tweaks and updates, and you always have to keep up with that one. I think we were talking earlier, Josh. I mean, nobody really reads Nobody really reads. Like if WordPress sends you an email, you don't really read it, right?
No. Yeah. And yeah, so that's the one thing that I wanted to talk about was, is monitoring.
Yeah.
And so one thing you absolutely need to set up for your website, is monitoring. And so when you have and a good monitoring service, again, will let you know if your site goes down, and it will let you know quickly, like within, a minute or, 1 to 5 minutes, depending on how much you want to pay and stuff like normally. So I've got some monitoring uptime services. Now I was what happened earlier this week is my another developer updates some code on my website, broke the website, but thankfully we had monitoring, so we were able to know about it very quickly. But again, when you have monitoring set up with managed hosting, your host, again, if you have managed hosting, your host is going to know that, which is what you do at WP Expert. You've got monitoring built in. So sure, you as the owner are going to know about it, but guess what? Your host already knows, and they're already on it. And that's what you want, because you don't want to have, I'll tell you, like a website going down or broken, and it's embarrassing to like your customers and stuff like that. Like that's, I just can't do that in business. I do not want that stress.
Yeah. And you've got a pretty good traffic coming in your website, Josh.
And my host would know.
I would know. We're always monitoring it. Yeah. So
it's like Ross from Monsters, always watching Wazowski.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I got that because I have a toddler. Yeah, but monitoring is very important, right? So you've got, these tools are always available if you're very knowledgeable of where to find it, right? Mm-hmm. But what's good with the managed hosting is that we monitor it for you. So we get alerted as soon as it goes down, and we get to it even before, we start panicking even before we get, we get in touch with you. And in most cases on our end, we just let you know that, hey, it went down, but it's up in 3 minutes. So, your website going down is the worst case scenario. So that's very important. And what's important is that you know exactly who, if you find something wrong with your website, it's so important to know who to get in touch with, someone who's not going to say no to you, right? Someone's not going to, you need to be able to tap somebody who will tell you, I cannot do this right now. I will pass you on to somebody else, right? We've had people come to us with that problem. Yeah. And we don't basically give up on your website if there's anything wrong with it. But yeah, we will let you know if it's not a WordPress issue.
Yeah,
and
you and your team have, when it comes to WordPress, I'm so amazed because, again, I've got my own developer. I'm fairly sophisticated. I've been working in WordPress since the 90s. Well, since WordPress became a thing, which was a little bit later. But before then, I was hand coding my own HTML and PHP websites. So first off, thank goodness for WordPress. But again, you want to have a partner who is Johnny on the spot, a problem goes wrong and they're already on it, right? They already know there's an issue. They're already solving it. So you can keep, as your business owner, you can keep doing your own thing. One thing I'm going to point out is that your pricing is fantastic. And this is another thing I did a little bit of comparison around because I was like, well, look, I can get managed care for $99. Well, that's about a third of what I was paying for the, kind of the more exclusive hosting. And the performance is stellar. The performance is stellar, but now I get an added layer of support so that when stuff goes wrong, it's automatically solved. And again, so if you go to upmyinfluence.com/hosting, again, not doing it for the money, but I'll go do something nice for somebody with, if I do get any sign up or whatever like that. We do a lot of donating to like veteran-owned business causes and that sort of thing. So happy to use that. I will use that money and I will support, I will go and I will support some veteran-owned businesses this fall with that. So, because I do get a little bit of an affiliate thing from that. So again, that's upmyinfluence.com/hosting. And Laura, thank you guys so much for setting that up too. We're creating a win-win-win here. So let me just show you, if you click on, I'm not sure if my screen sharing works or not. I'm going to try this and maybe we could take a peek here. But let's see, screen sharing. Yeah, I think it works. So when you click on that link, I just wanted to show you kind of how that deal works. It's $99 a month. Normally, your first 3 months, you'll get 50% off. So it's $49. Now, when you click on claim my discount, just wanted to point this out. You just pay 3 months at a time. So your first 3 months are going to be $148.50. And then you can go ahead and Laura, one thing I was really concerned with, I'll go back to you and I, is migration. My site was running and I'm like, I don't want major disruption. Like, I don't want to have this stressful downtime. Can you explain just in a minute or so, how does migration work?
Well, when we migrate your website, of course, one important factor is that we don't do it during your daytime, to make sure that everybody's sleeping, there's least amount of traffic, or you can actually tell us when the least traffic is happening. On our end, we set up layers of environments meaning we do a replica of your website before we actually push it live. So we migrated we migrated from your existing hosting to our hosting into a we call it a staging site. So it's not the live site, but it's ready to push for live. So it's just really up to you.
Which is what we did. And then, so now we had the staging site all set up and I'm like, yeah, the thing's working. Yeah. And then at some point overnight, you go ahead and then adjust your DNS settings so you can get everything moved over. So then you wake up the next morning and your users are now, they're loading your website from their new fast server. Laura, I just want to, I want to underline this fact too, to the person who's watching us, listening to us, feel free to shop around, but I can tell you that at $99 a month, even without the 50% off promotion for the first 3 months, $99 a month from what I saw was about half to a third of some of the other popular managed hosting options. It's a great deal. So again, that's another reason why I wanted to pass this along, because it was like, I did my shopping around, and now having been using the service, I just, again, wanted to add my voice to the fact, like, these guys are great. So like I said, I've never done this with any of my other hosts. I don't think I've done this with any other services that I pay for or software that I use. And this was entirely my idea. I reached out to them. I'm like, can we do this? Because I think you guys are great. Your pricing is great. Your service is excellent. This is something I could get behind. Sorry, Laura.
Such kind words. All right. Yeah. Yeah. So, sorry, I got lost.
Yeah. So again, that's upmyinfluence.com/hosting. And Laura, are there websites? Again, it has to be WordPress. Are there websites that would be too big? I don't know, like traffic that might be a little too big to handle, or $99 a month. I mean, if someone has like a really popular community website, you can still handle that okay?
Yeah, I mean, a website like yours, Josh, I think yours has gone up to 60 gigabytes or something like that. Your website is actually quite heavy, and I think the only time that we need to optimize is when you constantly update your content. So that's why we have to regularly check your optimization and see. And you also have a developer working in there, so I'm not sure. So we need to regularly check and see how the grade, if it's constantly the way it is, or it's dipped. So that's the only issue that we have. And then so far I think we can handle it at $99 a month. Yeah.
That's amazing. All right. So we're at the top of the hour. Thank you, my friends, for listening. Even if you're like, maybe if you're even just kind of like toying with the idea of, running a website or whatever, they're a great partner because you have a layer of tech support, which I really love. And even if you don't use them for hosting, I love the resolution desk. Again, $49, no fixture WordPress issue. That was a great that was a great first experience for me. So Laura, I just want to say again, thank you so much. You and I've gotten to know Carla as well as the CEO. And you guys have been just fantastic to work with. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing this live stream together. Hopefully we've shared some great ideas, for our website owning business owner friends out there, and they can use any of your services and make their life a lot easier. So Laura, Sebastian, thank you so much for all your help. Thank you for, the individual. I know you've chimed in on some issues that I've asked about in the months previous. So thank you so much for your personal help. And then thank you so much for sharing your information and helping folks on the live stream today.
It's always a pleasure to help someone in need.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura.
All right. Okay.